Hey guys, we are back for another episode here of 0 to 100,000 in real estate. We've got an incredibly special guest, someone who's absolutely crushing it here in the Tampa market. Jenifer, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And just to read off some of the things, because you're very accomplished, 40 under 40 in the Tampa Club, Tampa Bay Real Producers, Female Broker of the Year in 2022. That's awesome. How'd that feel when you won that?
I wasn't expecting it. I mean, just you saying it right now, I still get like this numb feeling. I wasn't expecting it at all. It was a great, very, very honored to get that.
Heck yeah, man. That's super special. And especially just to do it at such a young age. But, for me tuning in, a lot of people watching here, like this is our first time actually interacting face to face. So I'm excited to learn too. Tell me about your story. What brought you into real estate? What got you to here today?
Yeah. Well, how much time do we have? No, so I got into real estate. Where am I in? About 6.5, so going on 7 years now. Really, it was almost, I don't want to say by accident, but it was one of those, God, I think I can do that. I can do that. I was in sales as it was. And I was like, I can help people, buy and sell a house. It looks fun. The whole reason people get into it still to this day.
Yep.
So my mom and I had a business. We had a mattress and furniture store, and I was, kind of working there majority of the time. And I was like, I don't want to do something different. Like, I feel like if you wanted to kill me, you know where you find me. I'm always here. Like, I want to, be out there somewhere. So I went ahead and signed up for the class and passed it. And I was like, okay. And then the broker, our class was in a broker's office, and he came in the last day and was like, oh, everybody fails it the first time. I failed it 3 times. And, at the time I'm like, oh, this is a broker who's, saying this. I'm like, I'm doomed. This isn't going to work for me. But I passed it. And so I passed it. And so then I'm like, what do I do? Where do I go from here? Brokerages are calling and everybody wants you to come join them and you feel special. So long story short, I signed on with one brokerage, didn't last there long, and then came across an agent, old school agent, very old school agent. And she wanted to start a team. I didn't know what a team was at the time, but it sounded fun. Yep. I was like, yeah, let's be a team. You know what you're doing. I don't. This could work out great. And it did. Within 6 months, we closed up the store and I was full-time in real estate.
Heck yeah. And, I think there's got to be some correlations there, right? So what did you learn in your time in sales that you feel just translates, like that comes over with the business?
It's funny that so you mean prior to real estate in my sales?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. People, how to deal with people,
yep.
how to deal with the different personalities and recognize those personalities in the beginning so that you can, get along with them.
Heck yeah. I love that. And I love your success too. Like coming in, I think there's so many agents that, they get to that point of maybe I'm going to do the course or now I got to take the test. And, it is scary. And the statistics on that is only 38% pass it the first time. But, the barrier to entry to enter into our field is so low and the reward of doing the work is insane. So,
yeah. Well, there's right now, I don't know if I'm sure you probably know this, but NAR has the highest number of realtors right now ever.
Yep. Did you see that report from NAR? So Bill Pipe said this at an event, this event actually, I'm wearing the shirt, about over the next 18 months, what's going to happen?
What?
It was pretty crazy. So they broke down the numbers and they feel that 30% of the realtor population will leave the business in the next 18 months. 60% will barely survive.
I think it'll be more than 30%.
Like before we even dive it, so I think this is going to segue beautifully. So what do you think is going to be the determining factor of the people that have to leave? Like what are they not doing that they could have been doing and it led them to have to leave?
They're not going back to the basics. So when I, my story that I just gave, when I said I got on with an old school agent, that I feel contributed 100% to where I'm at today. Listening, again, mind you, I was younger, she was older. I was still trying to adjust to this, but I got into this to be, self-employed and do my own thing. And, she's like, no, you need to be here every day at 9 a.m. And I'm like, I don't even wake up until, 10. So, but I did it and I listened to her and I learned the basics. I learned how to be a realtor. Like I really learned the fundamentals and what it takes. Excuse me, what it takes to build relationships and how to work your, referrals and things like that from her.
Love that. Love that. Love that. And I think that segues in pretty good. So, theme of the show, you've built an amazing business here in Tampa. And when you look at everything that you went through in order to build it, if you did have to start over today, what would you do to get from 0 to 100,000 as fast as possible?
Um, really just focusing on your sphere, the relationships. I know I keep saying that word, but I feel like right now in this market, it's, and during COVID, you didn't care if you had a relationship. You were going to sell them a house. They wanted it. There was no loyalty at the time. That's why a lot of these agents probably did decent because, they go online, they click a button, they get the first agent. That agent happens to get lucky, gets the offer accepted. Boom, you got a deal. Now you really gotta talk to them. You gotta get to know your clients. And one of the things that I'm very big on is is following up with past clients and staying in touch with them. I do little cheesy pop by gifts every so often. And, I send little cheesy emails and, they get brownies out on there every year of their home anniversary. They get a birthday, different little cheesy things like that, but they come back. They like the cheesy.
It's one of the love languages, right? Like gifts are definitely one of the love languages, the way people feel it. And, it also shows that you care. And so what do you think is where people struggle with the relationships? Like what do you think is that hold back?
I think a lot of people get into this business because they see the glitz and the glam of it. They see the lunches, they see the events, they see this. And so they don't take the time to develop those skills that is truly needed to carry on.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So talking to a new realtor, what are like, let's say that they want to do this. Or like, Jenifer, I love people and I love building relationships with people, but like, where do I go? How do I find a person to build a relationship with? Right. They're in that place where they have limited beliefs and they don't know what they can do. What would you tell them to go out there and do today?
Well, first, you need to sign on with a brokerage that is going to support you and is going to, teach you, in my opinion, teach you those basics. Technology is amazing. We all need some technology in order to get through in this business, of course. But right now, we really need to teach people how to be realtors, how to, if you didn't have the internet, the internet goes down tomorrow. A lot of people are screwed. They won't be able to sell a house. They won't even know. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'll be kind of lost without Facebook.
I wouldn't want to do.
I can't check my daily news in the morning on Facebook, but we got to, you got to find somebody that can teach you how to survive without leads. Realtor.com and Zillow gets shut down tomorrow. How are you going to get your next deal? Where is it going to come from? And a lot of people will look at you with a deer in the headlight look and be like, I don't know. What do you mean? I got to go, talk to people. Yes. Go sit at the bar that you're at every Friday at anyways and talk to people, but talk to them about real estate, get to know them versus just about the game that's on the TV.
Yeah. I'm going to go into I'm a new agent mode and some things that I struggled with and just see what you do in this spot. So, and it may be so natural, you might not be able to identify it, but let's say that I've sat there, right? We're talking, maybe it's the bar, right? Like I've sat there and, I talk to these people, I've got great relationships. And I just don't want to seem like I don't want them to think I'm trying to sell them something and tell them I'm a realtor. Like, how do I get to that point in the conversation where we figure out like they can know what I do for work and I can tell them, if you know anybody I can help? How do we get there?
So there's a couple ways. So one of the things that I talk to a lot of my new agents about, especially if they're married, have a significant other, have a best friend, whatever, use that person as your, act it out a little bit. Sit at the bar with your husband, your significant other, your friend, and just start talking to them as if you're telling a story about real estate. Oh, I can't believe I got that offer accepted. I had to negotiate my butt off, but we did it. The other agent was great, yada, yada, yada. And people that are in the market to buy or sell are going to hear those keywords. They're going to start tuning into your conversation. They're going to ask you, oh, wait, are you in real estate? How's it going? Or if you're by yourself, sometimes I'll pretend to be on the phone. Or I don't have to pretend anymore. The damn thing goes off every hour as it is. But just have those conversations on the phone. Don't be afraid to, talk out loud and say that. I've had a lot of interaction from just over people listening to conversations. We all do it. It's human nature. You're not eavesdropping. I mean, you are, but
Everyone does it.
we do it. And that's, so just don't be afraid to talk, or just ask somebody. You're talking about another thing, girl to females. You see a lady sitting next to you, compliment her on something. Even if you don't like it, tell her you do. Oh, your nails are great. Your hair looks great. Where do you go? Really? Where's that at? Get in conversation. What do you do for a living? I've done it before. You look familiar to me. Do I know you? That gets people talking.
I love it. And when you're there, if we're talking to this, and this is you, where you struggle in social places, whenever you go to a social place, there's going to be one person that's like, people are gravitating around. You can hear them. You're attracted to this person. So what are they doing? Like, become a student, right? Like even though they might literally just be the good looking girl or guy at the bar and is a great talker and but what are they doing? What is their body language? What are they saying? What is their tonal pattern? Like, become a student of that, because I love what we're on right now, because that mindset of, if the internet was gone tomorrow, I'd have to change some things immediately, right? Like, immediately.
Everybody would.
Yeah.
But it's knowing what to change is the key there. Everybody's going to have to change, but it's knowing what to change and how to change it is what's going to set you apart.
I love that. I love that so much. I just want to give a couple of shout outs. We got Lori here dropping in to say hello.
Hey.
Of course. And then we've got Alberto. What's happening, brother? It's an agent on my team.
What's up?
Dude, that picture for YouTube is very interesting, by the way, Albert. Very interesting.
That's another show.
Oh, yes, it is. I'm going to keep picking away, you guys, but I see that we've got 18 people here watching. If you're live here, drop some questions in the chat. That's where this gets the most fun and interactive, is where if you guys have something you're struggling with at all, Jenifer's a beast. She's going to be able to help you here and maybe get some of those things answered. So if you could just, drop some questions in here, even if it's just to say hello and you want to say hi or something you pulled away from this, love to hear from you guys. And, Jenifer, so what are you doing right now? Of course, building relationships, continuing with past clients. What are you doing to identify new clients for yourself right now?
Well, right now I'm still trying to navigate this great market, but
it's interesting right now.
Yeah. Again, back to the basics. I'm really relying heavily on my business has been majority referral based at this point anyways. Very blessed and lucky to be able to say that. I do the whole lead generation online for my team, and every now and then I'll grab a lead here and there, whatever. But for the most part, my personal business is just past clients, sphere, things like that. So I'm very focused right now on them and making sure they stay educated on the market. So if they do want to sell, they're not afraid to. I'm very focused on keeping my, sphere that may want to buy educated on the market. So if they want to buy, they're not afraid to. And that's, another big thing is being able to educate others on what truly is going on and not what you hear on, on TV or on Instagram. Yep. So that's my focus. Again, it's just going back to the basics and what I was taught to do early on, and, prospecting, just really getting back to sitting down and making those calls every day, those dreaded, prospecting calls that everybody just loves so much, but we got to do it. You know what I mean? And, and if I'm not going to lie, I'm not a door knocker. I'm not at all, but I know that it can work, and that I know right now this is the basics. Again, if we didn't have the internet, how are you going to get in front of the guy at 123 Main Street? You got to knock on the door, so teaching that as well.
I think that's a big one, where I haven't done much of that either. But, I was listening to a podcast that was on Tom Ferry's, and he had a guy talking about open houses and how to farm around it. And how natural is it that you have a listing on that block and you just, let's be real. If you have a listing in a neighborhood, especially like a subdivision with an HOA, the people most likely to know someone who wants to move to the area is people that live in that neighborhood. Yeah. Like they've spoken to somebody they know. It's so natural. Like, hey, I wanted to invite you over to the open house. Something we've learned over time is that the people living right here in the neighborhood might have the most knowledge of who's looking to move here. And if
Mhm.
there's a way that I can help them, I would love for you to just send them my number. What can I do? Um, I love the whole thought process there got me turning about like, if the internet was gone, what the hell would I do? Like,
Mhm.
that's a great that's a great way of thinking right there.
Yeah. I always teach door knocking with a purpose. You got people that are knock on your door just to give you a flyer and they turn around and they walk away. Like, okay, well that was fun. Come back on Halloween. But door knock with a purpose. What are you going to say to them when they open the door? What are you offering them besides just a solicitation? So,
I love it.
and that's a big one, the open houses.
So Mazin or Mazen, I'm going to say both because I could be wrong and it's going to be one of those two. How can I, as an agent for 4 years, boost my business to get more listings?
By the 4-year mark, you should have clients, again, depending on how many buyer deals you've done throughout this 4 years. By this point, your buyers are potentially thinking about selling. So you really need to dig into them. What do they? Reach out to them, send them a Christmas gift, send them a Thanksgiving pie, whatever's do something that's you. If sending a pie, if somebody got a pie from you and they're like, Mazin sent me a pie, that doesn't even seem like something they would do.
Yep.
Then don't do that. Keep it real to you, so they know that it's genuinely you. Focus on those people, reach out to them, maybe do a client appreciation event for them. Because out of those, let's say you've had, to 4 years, say 10 a year, that could be potentially 40 buyers. Out of those 40 buyers, if 20 show up and 10 of them have a referral for you, there's your next year's business right there.
I'm going to piggyback off that and segue. So the piggyback is, guys, like, if someone's purchased with you, the question is, do you believe that you provided an experience they'll remember? And that answer should definitely be yes, or we need to work on that. But if that answer is yes, like, call them, say, hey guys, look, I'm building my business. I'm looking for growth. Who do you know that could use my help? Right? You don't say that when they answer the phone, but like in that call, make sure they know like how, like, they want to help you. If they
Yeah.
like you, they want to help you. And the second thing that I want to say, because I don't know where Mazin or Mazen is at in his business, but right now there's a key group of people that literally are as deep into the process as possible, that have their hand raised, and you have their phone number, and that's for sale by owners. They are struggling right now. Like, us as agents are, I mean, I'm sure that you have some listings that are sitting on the market, because I do, and I think everybody does. Imagine a for sale by owner that's literally put into a box on the Z site, and they can only market to a couple of sites where they have no exposure. Like, they're in a bad spot. So if you're looking for listings right now, approach them from a place of, how can I contribute? How can I add value to you? Not, I want to list your house, not, I have a buyer, none of this. Like, hey, I see that your house is set on the market for 21 days. Tell me about what's happened so far. How many calls are you getting? They're going to tell you most of them are from agents. Hey, look, I'm going to take a look at your listing. I'm going to tell you what I would do. And not because I want your listing, but because I want to help you sell yours. And if I were to do that for you, would you implement some of those changes? Like
Offer
that?
to do an open house for them. That way you can get in front of them. Offer to, hey, I'm an agent. I would like to try to, secure maybe a buyer for your home. Are you okay if I do an open house? Well, now they're going to be there when you get there for the open house. Be prepared for that conversation with them. This is, we as agents, we have access to all kind of marketing materials and stats and this and that. Get all of that, take it and sound like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
To this, to them, and they're going to leave for the day and they're going to really think about what you said. And don't be surprised if they come back and say, you know what, I think we want to go ahead and give this a try.
I love that. I love that. At some point, if they have to sell, they're going to sell with a real estate agent.
Yeah.
If they can't sell their own, like, that's just the truth. So the question is, who's going to be the one who contributed most and is most memorable? Let's see. Lori's got something. Let's see what she got.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, throw a housewarming party for them, have your lender title split the cost, and have them invite all their friends and family. So I thought about this crazy. Sorry, it's got me excited. I got a segue just now. I thought
Lori
about.
tends to do that to people.
Oh my God. So I was sitting with Joel and maybe Jen, I don't know. And I was like, oh my God, how cool would it be for, like, maybe not the day of closing, but like 3 days after closing, like, you tell them at closing, but you have this all arranged where you've knocked on all the doors on the street and you have the street come to introduce themselves and you have a little party for them right there. Like, I was like, wow, this is definitely something you can do. And this triggered that back up. I need to write
Yeah.
that down.
Well, while we're kind of on that, an agent heard this, I think, from another agent that was in another state, that they get, so for their buyers, they go around prior to closing with a card and have all the neighbors sign a welcome to the neighborhood card. And then they give it to them at closing from all their neighbors.
That is genius.
And it's also a great way to get in front of all these people. Again, door knocking with a purpose. You are knocking on the door to ask them to sign a card for their new neighbor, and then you just happen to give them your business card.
I love that. I love that. That's a good one, Lori. You triggered a good one there.
So what I'm hearing, Lori, is you're ready to sponsor some housewarming parties.
I saw it. You saw it too. I think you might be coming. Margaritas. Let's see. What would you tell a potential seller that wants bypass a realtor and just go directly to an investor to sell their home? Great question.
That is a good question, and that's happening. It's very, as we all know, these iBuyers is very common right now. You got to show them. You got to show them the benefits of not doing that. Whether it's the substantial more money they're going to make. Whether it's the fact that it's real big right now. And I'm sure we're all seeing this, especially if you work with investors who are buying to rent out homes. A lot of communities their HOAs are going to they're putting in rules now for investors. You got to own the home for a year, 2 years, all of that, because they're trying to block a lot of these investors from buying up everything and renting them out. So right now people are very big on selling to owner occupants. Use that to your advantage. Tell them, hey, listen, this is the stats on, investors. This is what's happening to rents right now. We're not an affordable market anymore when it comes to, to rents. Show them that, and you're going to pull on their heartstrings, and they're going to say, you know what, you're right. Even if I make the same amount of money, I know it's going to go to somebody that is going to cherish this home as much as I did.
I love that. And then the segue I would add to that is align yourself with an iBuyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So now, like, you're naturally going in there and you can say, hey, look, like I that's totally an option, right? Maximum convenience is an option. I totally understand you don't want to show your house, do these things. Let me come by. I'll bring an offer for my iBuyer so you can consider that. And then I'll also come prepared to show you how much are you leaving on the table by going this route. And now you can put them side by side. So that's what I would piggyback on that.
Yeah. We actually just did a training in our office. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear the yard people. I feel like they're here every day. I don't know. And it's always the most inopportune time. So anyways, we just had a training in our office on that exact thing, on aligning. We just aligned ourselves with an iBuyer. And now we're going in and saying, listen, we could do this for this, or I could do this for this. And, it seems to be working so far.
It's a great play. And let's see here. Therese. Nice picture, Therese. Great stuff. So many good reminds of what we used to do when we had to work. Mm-hmm. What are you doing to market your listings? You
praying. saying a prayer. Burying the little St. Joseph's in the yard. No, I'm just kidding. Right now, it's all about exposure. It really is getting as many eyes as possible on it, because, and the biggest thing right now, as we all have been hearing, is this 2-1 buy down. Partner with a lender if you don't know what that means. And we're offering, because, of course, as agents, we'd rather our client give a credit versus do a $10,000 price drop.
Yeah.
We want to keep our prices, we don't want this big drop like, everybody's expecting is going to happen. So talk to a lender. What does a 2-1 buy down mean? What does that mean for the buyer? Talk to your seller at that point. Hey, listen, instead of us dropping the price, let's offer this. It's going to make the home more affordable monthly payment wise for a buyer. Same difference for you, but it's going to get more eyes and more showings for this listing. And so that's what we've started doing.
I love that. And Therese, the thing I want to say here is, marketing is exposure, just like Jenifer just said. But the other thing that it is that agents haven't had to encounter over the last 2 years is, what are you going to tell your seller when you're 30 days on market, 45 days on market, and you go to them with a price reduction and they say, why should I reduce your price? You haven't done your job. Like, what are you going to say to them? How are you going to articulate the value that you've provided? Just in a nutshell, what we do is there's a threefold marketing campaign we do on Facebook that generates tens of thousands of eyeballs. And this includes leads for the agents on my team, as well as video views that I can show up with a report and say, hey, like the one we just did, I think there was 25,000 impressions, 3,200 video views, 50 leads produced. And you can articulate that because now, like, let's be real, we have presentation, which is photos and description. We have marketing, which is exposure, how many eyeballs are on the property, and we have price. So if we can debunk these two where they can't fight us on those, we know that when the time comes, we're at our days on market, makes this conversation way easier to have that.
And setting the expectations up front too. I preach this to my so much is when you go in and you're getting this listing, set the expectations with the seller. Don't tell them, oh, I think it's going to sell in 10 days. Your house is amazing. You got the white cabinets, you got the granite. It's going to sell in 10 days. No, you don't know that right now. Again, a lot of these sellers are still kind of, reeling from what's been happening, and they want their house to do the, to sell over the weekend like we were used to. So setting those expectations with them up front is going to help you with them and help them trust you throughout the process. Because if you don't, you come in and you tell them, oh, we're looking at 10 days. I think we can get, this price for it. And you don't, now they look at you like you don't know what you're doing. But if you tell them, okay, listen, we're going to set it at this. We might have to do a price drop in 30 days, but let's see what happens. Then they're going to like, okay, you were right. Let's go ahead and do it.
The market determines the price, right? The market determines it. I love that. Awesome, you guys. Well, hey, we're getting close to wrapping up here. We got any other questions in here? This is fun. I could keep this rolling for a while. The question part is like, it makes it real easy. But
yeah, like keeping me on my toes, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the fun part. I like to ask me anything and kind of see where it segues off to. And a lot of good questions, though. I think, and you tell me if you've seen this, but I've seen a lot of real estate agents over the last month or so that are starting to feel it. Like they're starting to. And I'll tell you, as a team perspective, July was our worst month in 2 years. Like that was July just was down.
Yeah. There was 15% of transactions in July canceled.
Yeah, that's about right.
And what's crazy is from what I've heard in podcasts and things like that, it wasn't just because of interest rates. A lot of it was because inexperienced agents didn't know how to have the hard conversations. Whether it was with the other agent on the other side, whether it was with their seller, whether it was with their buyer, whoever it was with, there's hard conversations that need to be had. Price reductions, repair request, appraisal, issues, whatever that is. And they just don't know how to negotiate. So start taking negotiation classes. We're getting back to having to do that, which is fun to me. Negotiations is fun. I used to want to be a lawyer, so I feel like I can argue and get my point across. But negotiations, we're back to that now.
Chris Voss has a badass training. So just type in Chris Voss real estate training in Google. And for anybody who wants to follow that and wants to do some negotiation training, that was the best thing I've ever done for negotiations. The guy was an FBI negotiator that like his job was to negotiate that, like, we have a reporter that's kidnapped by somebody in Iraq. And like, they're going to kill them unless we can make this negotiation happen. Yeah. If you can do that, I think that we can negotiate for a $5,000 shortfall in appraisal.
I would hope so. I need to write his name. I need to go listen to him.
Chris Voss is sick. Yeah. He talks and he does a good job. Like, I don't know who advised him because he's obviously not a real estate agent, but he does a good job talking about like the objections and how to get through them and how to negotiate through the process to put things on the other foot. And I think like we know this just from being in it long enough, but like if you're the person asking the questions, you're in control. And if you constantly are asking questions back at the other side, you're going to discover a lot more. You're going to help them self-discover their own issues and their own biases that they have.
And listen.
Yes.
Listen. I haven't listened to Chris, but I imagine one of the things he probably negotiations. You got to listen.
Active.
They'll tell you everything that you need to come back with if you just listen.
Love that. Love that. All right. Well, guys, got a couple of minutes here. Drop some questions. If not, we'll say some last words here. But Jenifer, some people are gonna leave here and we got one. Just kidding. There we go. When you
what are you
go
saying
out
at the door when you door knock, and who are you targeting when you go out? So there's a couple different ways. It's depending on how you want to, who you want to door knock to. Again, back to what I said, door knock with a purpose. Do open houses is a great way. One thing I've done in the past is at an open house, go around to the neighbors and invite them for the first hour. So if your open house is normally, let's say, 2 to 4, go and invite them from 1 to 2. And hopefully your neighbor that you're selling their house was a nice neighbor and people actually like them. And say, hey, we're doing an open house, but prior to the first hour, we want to invite the neighbors for some wine and cheese or mimosas, or depending on the time of day, whatever you want to do. Say goodbye to your neighbor. And all the neighbors want to see the house anyways. It's, right now, the way the market is, you're getting a lot of nosy neighbors coming in to see the house. So invite them over to say goodbye to their neighbor. And then you're door knocking with a purpose. And then once they come into the house, hey, I worked this hard for them. Imagine what I could do for you. That whole thing. Or if you don't want to, if the neighbor doesn't want them to come in, like you said before, door knock and tell them, hey, I got this house. Do you have anybody that you want to live by you? Do you have anybody looking to move to this area? You want to talk to them more from that way versus I'm a realtor and I would love to sell your house one day, because they're just going to throw your card in the garbage. Yeah. But it takes consistency. So don't, just because you knock on their door one day, don't expect them to call you in 30 days if you don't follow back up with them. So maybe after you knock on the door, maybe send them a home equity report of some sort in the mail. Hey, I met you when I knocked on your door. Just wanted to let you know, here's what your home is valued at. We got an offer on the house and we're under, something like that. Hey, I got an offer on that house, but there was 3 other people that showed interest that the house just didn't quite fit, but I think yours might fit there, what they're looking for.
I would bet that there's a couple of people in here that live in a subdivision type neighborhood. Like I live in the country, man. I'm on 5 acres. So like
nice.
if I go knock on doors, there's a chance I get shot. So you got to be a little bit careful. But what I would, if I lived in a neighborhood, like it's a little late for this one, but you could figure out off the idea what to do. I'm going to organize a trunk or treat. I've got my local vendors, so I know I've got at least trunks that are like 8 trunks that are going to park up at the clubhouse. Put yourself a flyer together in Canva. Go knock all the doors. Hey, this is James. I live down the street. I'm a local realtor. We're organizing a trunk or treat for the kids. I want to give them a safe place where they can come. They can go ahead and go through, knock out the trick or treating in 30 minutes. We're going to do it next Friday at 1. Would you like to come? Awesome. Hey, like what would be, I just want to make sure I can remind you and everything. You want me to put you in that? What's a good email?
Mm-hmm.
Throw it in there. You can do it around the invite is what I like. When you went to open houses, I feel like that's the strongest place to go, because when you do it around the invite, you're contributing. Contribute.
Yep. Even if you don't live in a big neighborhood, find a neighborhood doesn't have an agent that has saturated it. I mean, we you can go on MLS and do the past sales, and if there's been one agent in there that sold at least 3 homes, they're probably farming that neighborhood. If not, if every agent is different, maybe take that neighborhood as your farm neighborhood and you get in there and start doing those kind of events and planning those things. And hopefully they have a park or something like that you can bring an ice cream truck to on a Sunday. Get on there and find a neighborhood that doesn't have a Facebook page and start a Facebook page.
I love it. And I want to segue to you leaving them with the last word. But before I do, guys, look, I see a lot of people tuning in here from YouTube. Give us a like. If you found something valuable here, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We have amazing guests just like Jenifer here every single week that are breaking down the strategies to win. And this is something that I'm super passionate about myself, because I feel like there's a lot of orphans out there that can really use some help. And yeah, guys. Yeah. So Jenifer, what are we leaving them with? Like they're here, they feel inspired, they've got some ideas. What do you want to leave them with on the last word?
Hustle. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Right now, get back to the basics, get back to the fundamentals, get out there and do the work, and you will see the rewards. Right now, this is the market for the pros. And when I said I don't just mean the property pros, but I mean feel a little plug there.
I like
For the true real estate agents, the real pros in this. This is our market. So align yourself with one of them. You know, we all know who the big dogs are in our industry and who we look up to. Align yourself with one of them and really learn, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be, I learn something new almost every day, every transaction. And if I don't know it, I'm not afraid to ask, what does that mean? Where'd you get that from? How do I do that? That's how you continue to learn. So, but the biggest thing right now is really, you got to hustle. You got to work.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for contributing your time and
Of
jumping
course.
here. You're amazing.
It was fun.
Guys, until next time.
Bye.